Are you guys a fan of the show? If you are, we have a VIP subscription that you can sign up to get much more of your girls here.
Become a premium subscriber and get access to exclusive episodes, ad-free listening, discounts on merch, and so much more. Plus, it's only $5 a month, which is way cheaper than your everyday latte.
To sign up, just go ahead and go to the show notes and you can click the link. Hey, Ashley.
Hey, Taryn.
Guess what I did on the way here?
You listened to one of our episodes.
How would you guess that?
Was it right?
Yeah.
Because I was just thinking, like, what was something you'd want to tell me? But then, like, what would
and
be...
also, what's something very rare?
Very rare. Like, the way you said it hinted at, like, this is a big deal.
Oh, that's kind of sad.
What episode?
It's the one that came out today.
Is it because you missed me?
A little bit.
You can say it.
A little bit.
It's fine.
No, I don't know why. I got a notification that, like, UA posted a new episode.
Yeah.
And I was like, I should listen to these girls. See what they've been up to.
I've heard they're a good time. I should probably give them a listen.
We're so cute.
We are so cute.
We are so cute.
I mean, I'm biased.
I know.
But I do agree. I think we're cute.
I was just giggling.
So you agree?
Yeah. I was
You
like,
think you're really cute?
we're adorable. Yes, I do. Actually, in the most healthy way.
Guys, the funniest thing just happened. Taryn and I sat down to record and I like look over and like across the way from where we're recording, we have like two separate chairs. And like I have my bag on one with like all my stuff, and the other chair is Taryn. She has her bag on that with like all of her stuff. And I noticed we both have two gray graphic tees draped over the left side of each chair. Like it's really bizarre how specifically they're like how similar they are.
Yeah, we're gonna be twin.
And we realized we both brought gray banties for the second episode.
I just love when we're like accidentally
when
on
you
the
just
same
click,
page. Yeah.
When you just slide
but
in.
But also, is that not the most perfect description? Like I get a hanger to hang it to make sure it's nice and not wrinkled, and then I throw it on the chair. Is that not me?
Yeah.
In a personality?
Yeah, I
like,
don't
I'm
have a
half
hanger
together and half not together.
I have mine like draped on my bag so it's not getting wrinkled, but then Taryn has her hanger like fully on. And there's like a whole closet area back there that you could use.
It's fine.
It's fine.
It's fine.
It's great. Today's episode is brought to you by Pair Eyewear. Wherever the sunny days take you, a pair of sunglasses should always be within reach. And with Pair Eyewear, you can switch from prescription frames to sunglasses for UV protection and polarization in just a snap. And when it comes to glasses, sometimes you just need to try them on and see how they look, make sure they feel right. And Pair Eyewear has got you. They have a virtual try-on option, which is so convenient. You can see how they look on your face shape without leaving your house. So step into summer sunshine with a snap. Sun top frames start at just $30. Pair Eyewear is built for everyday durability and versatility, including wide frames to fit every single face. They offer free standard shipping, and they have a flexible 30-day return policy, which is so awesome. So celebrate friendship and adventure this summer with Pair Eyewear. Go to paireyewear.com and use code ADVICE, ADVICE, for 15% off your first pair, and mention that Unsolicited Advice sent you in your post-checkout survey to support Taryn and I. That's PAIR eyewear.com, code ADVICE. Also, if you have any stories that you would like us to read on our podcast, this is your moment to shine. Send your emails at, what's the email called, Taryn?
Advice, unsolicitedpod@gmail.com. It can be funny. It can be sad. It can be deep. It can be light. It can be your story. It can be a friend's. It could be short. It could be long. All shapes and sizes are welcome. So send it in today.
How was vacation, Taryn?
It was great.
Welcome back.
Thank you. Thank you. I'm like super tan. I don't know if you can tell.
I mean,
not
you're
really.
Fully
I'm like
covered,
fully covered.
So
yeah. Head to
there's
croc.
like a small little slit that I could kind of maybe.
Yeah, did you hear what I said?
Head to croc?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ashley hates my Crocs, and I accidentally wore them today because I was like running around like a crazy person and forgot to switch my shoes. And you know what? They kind of match my sweater. So
Actually, I would say they very much go with the vibe that you're giving.
it's fine.
I don't know why. I'm pretty sure I'm the last person on this planet to like still hate Crocs.
I thought I was, and because I've told you before, like they reached out to me years ago.
Yeah.
When they were like first starting to like poke their heads back out and be like, hey, we want to be cool. And I laughed laughed at the email because I was like, Crocs. Yeah, right. That's so beneath me.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, like Post Malone started like posting with them, and then everybody and their mother started getting them. I still was like, I can't bandwagon it. Like I hate being a bandwagoner. But then my niece and nephew, that's all they wear.
It's very kid. I understand the kids like slide them on, slide them off. You can wash them off, hose them off.
And one of my friends wore them, and I was like, you know what? Like they're not the cutest, but I need a good pair of like taking Charlie out on a walk kind of shoes.
Yeah.
So I bought it, and I'm telling you, it's a religious experience the first time you wear them.
Yeah.
There's so much room.
Yeah.
And they have holes that just like
breathe.
Just like I'm just picturing what that sounds like in everyone's ears.
They're like,
probably
stop,
disgusting.
Just stop.
They're
I've actually
magical.
I have had 2 pairs. I've bought 2 pairs.
I was gonna say there was one at the house that we would
had
all
my
put
walking
on.
shoes, something to like put on to like go walk outside, slide on, slide off, for years. And then my first pair ever was actually I got them in like 2010 because I was working at the hotel at the time, and my feet were killing me. And I tried everything. And we weren't allowed to wear like tennis shoes. So a friend of mine was a cook at a restaurant, and he was like, you have to try Crocs. So I bought these, like, at the time, I don't even know if they still have these, but they were like ballet slipper style Crocs.
Ooh.
So they were like not as wide as regular Crocs. They still had the holes, but they were like very minimal. And then they had the back strap. And I was like, these are incredible. So they were my work shoes for the longest time. Yeah.
Well, I got on, thanks to my sister-in-law, because she sends me the worst videos ever. Like we get in fights about it all the time because I'm like, what? You know how deeply that's going to impact me. But she started sending me these like bunion TikToks.
Yikes.
That is actually terrifying.
Oh, it's my worst fear. And it's starting. I can feel it.
So she got toe stretchers.
Yep.
And so she sent us all these things, and we're like, guys, toe stretchers. But also Crocs are like wide. So they're like barefoot type shoes. So like your feet are able to fully spread. Because I'm telling you right now, I choose death over some of those things I saw.
Oh, it's so bad. I have toe stretchers, and I have the toe cushions because I remember when I decided to become a runner.
Yeah.
That dramatically. So I have really bad, I'm not going to go through the whole history, but I have really bad feet. Like they're very flat. I have zero arch support. So my ankles curve in. So because of that, the bunion thing is inevitable unless I like fight it from the beginning, which I have been. Alicia has a video of me at like 20 with rubber bands trying to stretch my toes because I was so paranoid about this.
Yeah.
And anyways, I got these little like rubber cushions that go in between your big toe and second toe for like walking, running, long Disney days. It's really nice because it separates but still like cushions.
Yeah. What were we talking about?
So
wait.
Bunion health.
Oh, I'm just stuck because me and Ash always joke about like how we have ADHD, and we had to like pause because there was noise outside. And then when we both go to finish, we both just looked at each other like deer in headlights, like, wait, help.
I know I was going on about something. Yeah. That's all I know. Anyways, let's digress from our feet conversation.
How did that come from
Crocs?
Vacation.
You said
I was saying
you started
I'm tan.
talking about Vanessa sending you videos.
Because I was saying I'm tan from my head to my croc.
There we go.
That's where it was.
And we're going to pivot.
And we're back. Anyways, vacation was fun. I've been having so much fun because this year it fell on Olympics. And so it's so much fun to like, we've been just like having so much fun during the day. And then at night we come and then watch like
the whole thing.
Yeah, everything that had happened.
I feel like that's everyone's routine.
Yeah.
You go about your day, and then instead of watching a show or a movie, Olympics.
It's been very sad though, because I've been home a couple nights and I'm just like sitting on my couch by myself watching the Olympics. It's like not the same as being like with my family. You know what I mean? Like I'll be like, woo.
I mean, me.
But when you're with everyone, it's like pure chaos. Like we're all screaming and like yelling, and it's so fun. So that environment shift has been a little boring, but I've been thriving. Yeah. And obviously Simone Biles.
Incredible.
She's so nuts to me, and I'm so happy for her. And it's so crazy because I think this is by far a stretch to ever try to compare myself to Simone Biles.
I mean, let's see where you're going with this.
But the tiniest thing we have in common is when the last Olympics had everything happen with the twisties and then was really struggling with like mental health stuff and was very open about it, which I respected her so much for. That was literally right around the time where my mental health was like in the trash, and I really found solace in her and like inspiration in her being this like crazy, like literally the greatest of all time, like in every way, but like also struggling with mental health and being so public about how that can just like take you out. You know, me feeling just like weak and lame and whatever was like found a lot of comfort in that. And I remember specifically because I was at a dinner and there was like, I always say adults. I know I'm an adult, but you know what I'm talking about, like older people there. There's adults there. And they were talking about it. And there was these older men that in their generation, it's like rub some dirt on it, like whatever. And they were just like saying these comments. And I was so triggered by it because I was like, dude, if I could like rub some dirt on it and just like make my depression go away. Yeah. So I was very triggered by that. And so I remember that time like so drastically. And then now to see her come back and be just like thriving. And I feel like I'm thriving, not doing anything
remotely close
minus
to
like
the incredible
getting out of my bed at a good time. But yeah, it was kind of cool to like see her thriving. And like I had this like emotional moment where I like flashed back to that and was just like, so cool seeing her come far. And then I was like proud of myself too for coming far.
Yeah.
Again, it's a reach.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's what I thought about.
Wow.
Anyways, how are you, Ash?
I've been good.
Yeah.
I've been good. I've just been loving summer. I'm a big summer girly. I've been like to the beach every weekend. I've been laying out by the pool every weekend. That's been really fun. I did have a funny moment that I like, it's been so hot.
Yeah.
That I haven't been able to go outside, right? Like I'm like, I can't handle it Monday through Friday. Unless I'm in a big bathing suit, like by the water, I can't be bothered. Like I'm going to do my morning walk and I'm going to like if I'm going to hike, it's going to be at like 6 p.m. when it's like, there's a breeze and it's cooler. But it's been so hot. And I said yes to going to this. I'll say the brand because they were great. Guess. I went to a Guess event.
Yeah.
And everyone there was delightful. They were so sweet. They decided to have an event at 2 p.m. in the middle of summer in LA on a rooftop.
Yeah. Woof.
When I tell you, I walked out there. I went by myself. I was like, I'm going to go. I'm going to film all this stuff. I'm going to get some photos. I knew there were photographers there. We were supposed to change into our outfits. Which I didn't realize until I got there. I walk out there, immediately start sweating. And I could feel myself, like I don't do well when I'm hungry and I don't do well when I'm hot. And I could feel myself getting too hot. And I was like, yikes, Ash, like let's try to be quick about this. And so like I try to get an outfit, but they were running out of stuff so fast. The girls there were like, boom, 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 like taking stuff. And I was like, okay, well, they were like, we'd love if you change into something. We can get some photos. And I was like, okay. Let's do this.
You're like, there's a towel left. So
yeah. So I like grab this little like polo shirt and skirt and I go to put it on. And I realized I was we were supposed to play pickleball. So I came in a cute little like athletic one-piece dress with a built-in sports bra. So I didn't have a bra to like put on the shirt.
Yeah.
So I had already told them we were going to take photos. So in my head, I was like, all right, I'm going to switch this out for a dark colored one and I'm just going to try to like not move. So then I walk outside, immediate boob sweat. I look at the photographer to go get photos and there's a giant line of girls all trying to get photos. When I tell you, I turned around and like walked out of there so fast. I was at that event for I think 30 minutes.
Oh my gosh.
I literally hightailed it, scooted out of there in their clothes, like without a bra on, and was just like, I don't have time for this. I get back in my car, I'm blasting the AC, and I come home, put a bra on, and I told Alicia, I was like, can you just take photos with me? Because I like fully skipped out on that entire event. And then what was funny was there was someone in the elevator with me on the way down, and I'm in the worst mood. And I didn't realize they were with guests when I first got in the elevator with them. And he was like, oh my gosh, are you leaving so soon? I like panicked and then lied. And I was like, yeah, I have therapy and microneedling. I did
Not
it.
therapy and microneedling.
It literally came out of my mouth so fast, and I was so shocked. But it was too late. Like I said it, and normally if it was Taryn, I would have been like, I don't know why I said that. Like I just need to leave. But I'm never going to see this guy again, so it felt pointless. So I was just like,
I'm dead. Well, it's not like they can say anything to therapy. So
that's in my head. I was like, therapy, microneedling.
The microneedling
can't come at me for therapy. Can't come at me for my face. It's my face. I got to take care of my face. What are you going to say?
I'm done with you.
I've never lied like that, or I haven't lied like that in a really long time. Yeah. And it was just the most like humbling moment where I was like, you should never go to a rooftop event at 2 p.m. in the middle of summer. Like it's not in me.
It's not the vibes.
No.
It's not the vibes for you. Yeah,
so bad.
Well, I'm glad you survived it.
Thank you. Barely did, but we did make it. Today's episode is brought to you by Pair Eyewear. Wherever the sunny days take you, a pair of sunglasses should always be within reach. And with Pair Eyewear, you can switch from prescription frames to sunglasses for UV protection and polarization in just a snap. I personally don't wear prescription glasses, but with an entire family that does, I understand the struggle of having to carry 2 pairs of glasses with you at all times. It's super inconvenient, especially if you're a guy and you don't have a bag with you. And the reason I love Pair Eyewear so much is because they have things called sun tops that are game changers for people that wear prescription but, want some sun protection while they're outside. Sun tops are frames that magnetically clip on to your Pair Eyewear, making it so easy to go from prescription to sun protection in a snap. And they're super affordable, so you can have like 5 frames at your disposal depending on like what kind of vibe you're looking for. They all start at $25. I'm obsessed with anything tortoiseshell, so that's my favorite pair, but they have tons of different bright, fun colors and designs, as well as a Mickey and Friends collection that is so fun and will bring your Disney adult to life. And when it comes to glasses, sometimes you just need to try them on and see how they look, make sure they feel right, and Pair Eyewear has got you. They have a virtual try-on option, which is so convenient. You can see how they look on your face shape without leaving your house. So step into summer sunshine with a snap. Sun top frames start at just $30. Pair Eyewear is built for everyday durability and versatility, including wide frames to fit every single face. They offer free standard shipping, and they have a flexible 30-day return policy, which is so awesome. So celebrate friendship and adventure this summer with Pair Eyewear. Go to paireyewear.com and use code ADVICE, ADVICE, for 15% off your first pair, and mention that Unsolicited Advice sent you in your post-checkout survey to support Taryn and I. That's PAIR eyewear.com, code ADVICE. Should we do a Tearing It Up?
Yes.
Okay. I'm not going to say the title for this one, so we'll just dive right in.
Okay.
Hi. I really hope the title got y'all interested. It did. That's why I clicked.
I would like to know.
I know how much y'all love a good title. So this happened almost 2 years ago, and I swear I was laughing about the entire situation as it was happening. I'm so not embarrassed at all. My name is Michaela, and the story is about my first big adventure with baby Levi. So picture it. North/Central North Carolina, August, 16 weeks pregnant. I'm at one of my 157 appointments to go check on little Levi, who was at the moment named Grayson, and I'm in the bathroom giving them yet another pee sample. And the lights flicker. I hurry up and finish in the dark and pop my head out of the bathroom door, and the nurse was super nonchalant, saying that sometimes that happens, it's no big deal. The lights are back on now, so we go into the exam room, where I'm told to get naked and put on one of those frontless robes that no one likes to put on and wait for the doctor to come in. I'm playing on my phone, scrolling TikTok, when I hear a loud boom, and all the lights, AC, and everything go out a second later. As I'm poking my head out of the door again, the fire alarm begins to go off. My nurse grabs my hand and starts pulling me out of the room, not giving me a moment to grab my clothes, shoes, purse, keys, literally nothing, saying that it's an alarm and we need to get outside. And obviously, like, not knowing, like, the urgency, like, is it...
Yeah, I'm telling you right now, I would not do well with that.
Yeah,
like someone grabbing me and telling me to run.
I'd be like don't touch me.
Don't drag me down.
Don't drag me down
Let me
with
tell
you.
you something.
She grabs another robe thing and hands it to me to put on backwards on top of the original one so that I have covering in the front, and we begin the trek down the 3 flights of stairs in the dark. We get outside, and as it turns out, someone ran into the transformer for the entire block and knocked out everyone's power. But because it could pose as a fire hazard, we had to wait for the fire department to sweep the entire building. Except here's the thing. It wasn't an emergency. So they took their sweet time while we were outside in the North Carolina heat for 2 hours before we were allowed to go back inside.
Oh, no.
All the other patients left because, they weren't naked with their car keys upstairs, and probably half the nurses were gone by the time it was finally cleared to go inside. They finally clear the building, and my OB finds me, laughs, saying that we will have to reschedule. I must have given him that I'm almost halfway through this pregnancy, have missed important meetings at work, and am covered in sweat and am completely naked underneath this uncomfortable robe. Look, because he grabbed my hand, helped me up the 3 flights of stairs in the dark, and found a room with a window so that we could finish the exam before I left. The best part is he found a battery-operated sonogram machine, and I got to see my sweet Levi do backflips at all of the excitement. Moral of the story, always grab your purse. When I tell you that works so well with my story of the rooftop, except imagine me being pregnant.
Oh, no.
I
Honestly,
would have stepped out, turned around, stepped back out.
I'm going to tell you something I've never quite told you.
Oh.
I'm a little fearful of what you're going to be like pregnant.
I don't think I'll leave the house.
I feel like you should just prep all of your friendships, your relationship, because you already, when you're hungry, grumpy,
hangry,
hot, you just grumpy in general is like, it's not the vibes.
Yeah.
So it's going to be very interesting.
Yeah. 100% agree.
It's going to be like Cece on New Girl where she's like, what? I was great when I was pregnant. They share the video.
Like, the cut to.
Who got me this toaster? Like just,
So, I just thought that was so funny. The title of this was Tearing It Up, Naked and Afraid, and Also Pregnant.
Yeah.
It was so good. It was so good. Jinx.
Okay, well, let's jump into the next story. All right. So this one is titled, How Can a Therapist Be Emotionally Unavailable?
Isn't that their job?
I know. Well, there's a twist to it, which because I first read it and I was like,
whose job is a therapist?
I don't know, Ashley. All right. Hey, Ash and Taryn, my name is, but I'd like to be anonymous, if you can bleep that, Michaela. I'm so excited to say that I've been watching Ashley on YouTube since I was in elementary school. Do you feel old?
Yeah, how old is she?
She's now going into college.
Okay, well, that's better.
Yeah.
It's a little better.
And have been a listener of the podcast for as long as I can remember.
You sweetheart.
I love you girls so much, and I love hearing your wisdom, even on topics that don't apply to me. It just feels to me like the wisdom of a mother. Okay, that made me feel old. She said, which
Not
is
Big Sister. What happened to Big Sister? Can we bring that back?
Which is in no way an insult, because I haven't been able to talk to my mom about much recently at all.
Okay, fine. We'll take it.
No, I'll totally take it, girl. I'm a mother. What's that? You know what I'm talking about?
No, but that sounded really familiar.
It's like a TikTok. I think. Anyways,
know.
Everything's a TikTok.
I was gonna
literally, sometimes I'm like just walking down the street, someone says something, and I'm like, oh, my mother. Like, I just say it, and I'm like, where did you learn that from? Like, what are you saying? It's just like all the TikTok nuggets.
I'm just imagining, like, I never saw the TikTok. I've just heard you say it. Maybe that's what's
honestly, possibly.
Yeah.
She continues, and growing up is scary, and it's so nice for me to have 2 people I can count on for wise advice. You're not listening, and she just said something so sweet.
So sorry. I'm so sorry. I was looking at my story. I was sad. I was like prepping my story.
Put it down.
Sorry. You're right. Okay. Go.
Okay, ready?
Say it again from the top.
Growing up is scary, and it's so nice for me to have you two as people I can count on for wise advice.
Well, thank you.
Yeah, you jerk.
Thank you. You jerk.
Yeah, jerk. All right, now let's get into it. So for a little backstory, I grew up with divorced parents and lived in a home with a single mother and 2 sisters. the most amazing mom who I looked up to in every way possible and did everything she could to provide for me. However, more recently, she did get remarried and has had a lot of changes in her life, and her priorities have most definitely shifted. I'm going to college in the fall, and I'm moving out of state to get away from my mom and my stepdad. And looking back, I just can't believe this Jurassic
Park?
Shut. I'm done with you. I just can't believe that this Jurassic is that a thing people say? Jurassic of a change?
I think it does mean like large.
Big? I've never heard that.
I don't think most people use it. Or
I was thinking drastic.
I'm not educated on this, but I'm assuming
like that.
people don't
Jurassic.
use it because of the movie.
That has to be a word though, not just from Jurassic Park.
Correct. It is.
Can you look up the definition?
I'm telling you. I think it means
you're telling me?
I'm telling you.
No, but I just want to know because I'm going to start using it. I'm not questioning you, Anonymous. I'm just now intrigued.
Jurassic, relating to or denoting a second period of the Mesozoic era.
Science.
Wait. Jurassic.
Did you spell it right? Because we know that.
I'm double checking right now because I want to make sure.
Well, I mean.
Yeah, second period of the Mesozoic era.
But maybe she just means Jurassic, like a giant dinosaur.
Possibly.
I'm gonna go with that.
Or yeah, sure. A giant dinosaur of
a change. Or maybe she was doing talk to text.
A T-Rex of a change.
And she said Jurassic.
Yeah.
And it
my mom
it
talks
to
to
Jurassic.
text. Talks to text.
No,
all the
your
time.
mother does. And it's so funny because when I'm reading her text, I know she's talking.
Yes. Yeah. It's so fun.
I love my mom, but she is almost impossible to talk to. I feel like ever since she got married, I'm no longer enough for her. She has said things to me that I will never be able to forget when all I'm trying to do is to explain to her how much she has changed. She also recently did her master's in psychology and became a counselor, and it's like that made her unable to handle my emotions because she is dealing with others so much. It's gotten to the point where I don't want to be home, let alone have a conversation with her. And for a while, I thought maybe I was crazy, but my best friend, who's been around since I was very little and knows my mom well, has told me that she's completely different and she has heard the jabs that she makes at me. Like telling me that the kitchen is a mess when I haven't been home, or telling me I use too much of her money when I pretty much pay for everything I do, including gas and anytime I go out to eat. She expects us to automatically accept our stepdad as someone who is amazing and love him, when in reality, he hasn't brought many positive things into my life. This has gotten so bad to the point where when I tried to set a boundary that I didn't want him there to move me into my dorm, she threatened not to go either. And that is insane to me to think she wouldn't want to be there. It just feels like now she would do anything for her husband, even if it's at the expense of her kids. I guess I don't even know how to let her know that she's changed without her completely blowing up at me, and that's where I need advice. I just miss my mom, and I want to be able to cry to her again like I used to. Thank you girls so much, and here's a picture of me and my mom and my sisters, and one with my little sister. I'm the one with dark hair.
Cute.
Cutie.
That's
this
tough.
is so hard. Yeah.
I think the move's going to be good. I think the move's going to be great. I think everyone goes through, not to diminish what you're going through, but I think everyone in general tends to go through this phase with their parents around the time that you're currently in, like that chapter of life where you're moving away to college, you're in high school or whatever. And I think space has always been good for that. So adding the added part of like the stepfather and her being distracted, I think will make that distance and that shift even more impactful for you. I think sometimes we just need to like step back, take a break, get away from the situation before, and like look back and like see the big picture before we can actually like take steps towards fixing it. Sometimes that's really helpful. So I'm excited for you to move. I'm excited for you to start college. I think that's going to put you in a much better headspace. And then what I would do is use that as kind of like an excuse to have one-on-one time with your mom, whether it be like a FaceTime or a call, and see if you can like pick a day, like every Tuesday, every Thursday, you have like a coffee date or you have like a morning chit chat or whatever your schedule looks like, whatever's best for you guys. But I would have like a weekly check-in where you get to have like that one-on-one time without your stepdad, and you can just kind of like be together, catch each other up. Like, I think the distance is going to cause you to miss each other a little bit. And I think having that like separation, but still communication might be really beneficial.
Yeah.
And it like, you don't have to be, I think, especially with her saying like the dirty kitchen and you're using all my money, I think you being out of the house is going to alleviate a lot of that and allow you guys to talk about like things other than your living situation. Does that make sense? I think that's going to be so beneficial.
Yeah. Well, I think it's clear, like, obviously she's bitter towards you too, because I think a lot of times when that stuff starts coming, like when people are getting like agitated over things that are like stupid or like meaningless, usually it's because there's already a buildup. So it takes the tiniest thing that usually wouldn't be anything, but it's like she sees the dirty kitchen. Yeah. You're already on her list, so she's just kind of
there already.
And I don't know what she's going through, but I can't imagine what that feels like. Like, I think there's so much in life that is constantly changing and catching us off guard. But the one thing that should be
your constant,
stagnant is like what you can accept from a parent. And so, you know, like me and my mom have our typical fights or our typical issues that we've always had. Like it's always been our style of communication or the things that get under each other's skin. But to see her just drastically change and to specifically lose the part of her that made me feel comforted as her daughter, I can't imagine how heartbreaking that is. And especially when you add in another person in the mix that doesn't make you feel safe or seen, and who you probably are putting a lot of blame on why your mom has changed so much.
I mean, part of me has to be like, it's the guy.
Yeah.
So like maybe these are, you know, he's the one change that really brought a lot of change in your mom. So it's like maybe this is stuff that he's thinking or saying to her, and so she's almost like regurgitating what she's been hearing from him. If you never felt this way or heard this from her before.
Yeah. Well, and I have to wonder, like, my follow-up question would be like, what is your mom's life been before this? Like, what happened with her and your dad? Was it like a really messy divorce and she was completely heartbroken? And so maybe this is her like savior that's come in, and I think sometimes we forget, like, even though our parents are older and we think they should like have it all together, they're still humans. And I think they still get swept up in those things, like making stupid mistakes when you get in a new relationship where you're just like, oh, all of a sudden, like I think about me in a relationship, like I was acting a fool and nobody could have told me different.
Yeah. And those TikToks where it's like, oh, where you look at your mom and you just realize that she's just a girl and she's trying to figure life out as well, right along with you, just a little bit ahead.
Yeah.
This is her first time having a boyfriend with kids. This is her first time having a new husband with grown kids. So like, I'm not excusing her for what she's saying, but like, that's gotta be tricky. That's gotta be like a little bit of a sticky situation to have to learn on the fly. She's definitely not going to be great at it at the beginning, you know?
Yeah. And I mean, obviously it sounds like she's not in a healthy attachment phase in her life because she's so hyper-focused on him. I don't know. And again, not that it excuses it, but I have noticed in my own life, I get through situations a lot easier when I really try to just like separate and think about the other person, and what they're going through and what could be going on in their own life. So that's why I bring up that. But also, I mean, it's funny because the psychology thing, most psychologists freaking jack up their kids. And it's so weird to me because I obviously went to school for that. And I felt like every class, everything I learned made me a better person and made me able to relate and empathize and sympathize with people so much easier. But I watched so many people in my class become a-holes by like just getting lost in like, I don't know what it is. It's like they separate, like you're saying, they separate that the meat of like emotions and human connection and how that other person's feeling, and they start to just analyze everything, and it almost makes them kind of like callous and removed from the actual what's going on, which is, hi, I'm sad. You're making me sad and I miss you as my mom. So unfortunately, that's such a freaking common thing.
Yeah, I knew someone we were really close with, and their kids vented all the time about like having issues with their mom was the psychologist. And I think the thing is like two things can exist at one time. Like you can be an amazing therapist, you can be an amazing psychologist, while like also not being the best parent. Like you can go through phases of being a really great parent and like not the best psychologist. Like it can be a little bit all over the place. I think the disconnect is like a lot of times what they do for work simply becomes work, and they have their work mode. They like can clock into work mentally with their clients, with showing up emotionally for them, because that's literally what they're paid to do. And then when they clock out, they're kind of clocked out, you know, and they don't necessarily take the knowledge that they have and know and bring it home. And oftentimes I've actually met a few people where their parents like overly psychoanalyze them. And that's like a whole other extreme where it's like they can't even mention, you know, that they want to cut their hair without their mom being like, oh, well, let's dive into why you want to change your character. And they're like, no, I just want to cut my hair. So there's definitely an extreme on both ends. And I think it's way more common than you'd think. But I do think your mom, it sounds like she's juggling a lot right now, which I mean, would be difficult bringing a whole brand new person into a family at that specific age with kids.
It's just it's really wild to me. And that's where I'm saying to take a pause and step back and maybe be strategic about how you approach it, or maybe even if, unfortunately, like sometimes there's situations with people where you're like, you don't have the capacity to hear what I'm saying to you. And that's where you as a person have to decide whether that means you just need to back up until that person's able to hear you and like create your own boundaries. But whenever, and I've unfortunately had a lot of friends go through things like this, but whenever I hear someone talking about how their parent has just checked out as a parent and put them in situations that they're uncomfortable with, or you know, where your kids are literally begging you not to be with a person, or telling you like, hey, what you're doing is hurting me, and the parents are just like, I don't care.
Yeah.
That's not normal. And I don't think that's at the core what any parent would like naturally do.
Yeah.
So I think that's where you see that and you're like, okay, they're not able.
There's a difference.
They're not able to like hear me as their kid right now. They're going through their own things. And I think it's so easy to focus so much on like what's happening and what did I do. But sometimes, like I said, you have to see them as just individual humans and like being in a toxic place, and they just can't see through it. And then that's where it's your job to like protect yourself from that.
Yeah.
But it's heartbreaking, and it's so common. Like it is so common.
Yeah, it is. And it's tough. And I think part of growing up, especially at the age that you're at, is like having that moment of like, oh, my mom's not in a good place. She's not able to do her best with me. And kind of like realizing what you might need to do for yourself, I think is that age that you're in, is that becoming an adult where you're like, okay, I can't fix her. I can't make her happy, whatever. I'm going to move forward and take care of myself.
Yeah.
And then see if I can like look back and fix things.
Yeah.
And I think that is such an adult move. And I'm very excited for you, Anonymous, to be able to take that next step and focus on yourself and focus on what you need. And college is going to be so great.
Yeah. And I feel so lame because this is literally my advice for everything, but I'm such a freaking fan of writing letters to people just because I think some people conversationally, one, can't take in what you have to say, and two, it's really hard to take in what someone has to say when you're on the defense, because you're telling me something and one thing triggers me and I'm already in my mind coming up with my defense. I'm not listening to the rest of what you have to say.
Yeah. Or you black out like me.
Yeah. Yeah. Ashley,
I literally shut down.
I'll talk to her for a long time. I remember like one of our first like big conversations, I like talked for like 20 minutes, just like letting out all the things I was feeling. And the one thing she responded to was like the first thing I said. So I was like,
that was the only thing I was physically able to grab a hold of.
She got stuck there.
And then she kept going and I shut down.
Yeah.
Like it's a problem.
It's not a problem. It's just the way that you communicate.
No, totally. But I also am going, like, moving forward when I have fights, like I'm imagining like I think I should make notes for Jackson.
Yeah.
Going into marriage one day of just being like, hey, I have a tendency to do this. You might need to break it down for me, or like let's go slow, or like if you have a few things you want to hit, like maybe start with one, take a break. Come in with two, take a break, or just like know that I'll need a beat before I respond. Like remember what you said, to go over the notes, to like come up with like process it and then come up with like what I want to say in response.
But I think this is a perfect time with you moving and just having that space naturally. So I would write out everything you've been feeling and I would like put it under her pillow or whatever. And then like when you leave, like she can read it and then whatever. But I would start with disarming her and by just talking about how much you love her and how much she's meant to you and her advice and her ability to like just sit and like listen to you cry and then like write out how you feel like that stuff has been stripped away.
And it sounds like she was an amazing mother before. So like, let's give her credit for that and be like, hey, like, thank you so much for all that you did. Like you raised me in such a beautiful way.
And a single mother. So she like put
work.
Everything into you guys. So maybe she's just at a place where she's like, I want to be selfish. Like I want to focus on myself. But it's like that can be, and she can also still be there for you. So I think it's her learning her own
She
boxes.
needs to find that balance.
Yeah. And then you also like just needing to know where she's at so you can like protect yourself accordingly.
Yeah. It's tough.
I'm so sorry though. That's so hard.
Yeah. Especially with your parents. It's so weird coming into that age where you see your parents as kids also and like learning life right along with you, and this is their first time doing this also, and of course they're not going to be perfect. It's so weird like breaking out of that shell of your parents being perfect. Sometimes it's like something you learn early, sometimes it's like this big like you're older and all of a sudden a shell cracks and you're just like, whoa, wait,
what just happened? You're
not acting very mature right now. What's going on? You know, it's very interesting. But thank you so much for writing in. All right, well, let's go ahead and get into my story today. This one is titled, Is My Perfect Boyfriend Too Perfect?
I'm going to say...
Probably not.
E-O.
E-O. Hi, ladies. I have been a longtime fan of this podcast, and y'all have truly been such an inspiration in my life for the last few years. You guys are a huge inspiration for my passion and content creation, so I just wanted to say a quick thank you. Anyways, into the real reason why I wrote in. I'd like to remain anonymous, but you can know my name. It's bleep it, Michaela. I'm turning 21 in October and in my junior year of college. Now that we've become acquainted, let's get chatting. I like that. Let's get chatting.
Do you like it, Ash?
I do like it. I've been dating my boyfriend for 2 years now. He's such a sweetheart. My friends call him my golden retriever boyfriend. He seems perfect, but over the last few months, I've started to notice some orange flags that make me wonder if this is something that can last long term.
An orange flag.
Orange. Number one.
Wouldn't it be yellow?
I think technically yes.
So maybe it's leaning towards red.
Maybe it's
because you have green,
tainted,
yellow, red.
It's a tainted yellow.
Yellow and red or orange.
Whoa.
Even if you didn't mean to do it, the fact that you said orange and not yellow means it's leaning towards red.
Fascinating. Number one, he has friends but doesn't have a social life. And then there's me, a sorority girly with multiple officer positions in Greek life and many close-knit friends that I love to hang out with. I sometimes feel a tad concerned about this since all he does is go to work, relax at home, work out, and hang out with or FaceTime me. While I absolutely love and appreciate that I'm so important in his life, I fear there may be some resentment on his part since I'm much more of a socially active person than he is. So that's number one. Number two, since he is an only child, I fear that he expects a lot more attention and codependency than I. Once an only child, but now a step sibling of 4 who likes and appreciates having me time and not constantly glued to my phone, texting him or hanging out with him 24/7. We recently went on a 6-day trip to Europe and we argued about my desire to have an hour every day to have personal downtime since my social battery is fragile. Number 3, and arguably the most concerning reason. His mom picked us up from LAX after this trip that I mentioned earlier and spent the 1.5-hour drive basically yelling at me for being a girlfriend because of our argument in Europe about me needing downtime to relax and recharge. I kid you not. The entire 1.5-hour drive was me taking in a full lecture about how I don't care about him and don't love him as much as he does. With all that in mind, I'm at
Wait. Okay, he was there in the car,
Sounds like it, yeah.
but had obviously communicated with his mom because she came guns a-blazing.
Obviously, they got in a fight. He must have called his mom venting, and then mom picks them up from their trip and decides to insert herself into their
The way I would shut my mother down so fast if she started.
Mortified.
Unless like that man cheated on me, then I'd be like, get him, mom.
That is the one time you are allowed to like speak your mind, unless I've
or like put hands
invited
on me.
you.
Yeah, destroy him, and then we're leaving together. Like without him,
easily 100%.
I'm so confused.
If my mom picked Jackson and I up from a trip and started scolding him, I would be like, pull over, get out of the car.
Which obviously he was fine with.
He clearly let her. Yeah.
Oh my gosh, I'm triggered.
I mean, that is.
No wonder you said orange, girl.
Yeah. I feel like what happened is this instance happened, and then that caused her to be like, here's other 2 concerns. Is this a problem? But she wraps this up by saying, with all that in mind, I'm at a crossroad. Personally, I don't see us working out long term, but since he does truly care about me and take care of me, am I considering throwing away something special? And before you guys suggest this, because I have a feeling you're already thinking this, we have had many talks about all of these concerns. It's just hard because he is a genuinely sweet and caring guy, but do these orange flags outshine the green flags? Help. Even if this doesn't get read on the podcast, I really appreciated getting this off my chest. Sincerely, Anonymous. So here's what I would say. Literally, you could get past everything until number 3. Like number 1, him not being social. Yeah, there's like a difference, but opposites attract. And it's not a bad thing for someone to not have a super booming social life.
But also like he has friends.
Yeah, I would be concerned if he doesn't have friendships.
He has to have some form of like every once in a while or through texting or whatever to like keep that relationship going.
And like some people have a lot of acquaintances and some people don't really have that many acquaintances and have like their like bestie or like their like 2 close friends that they've had like forever, you know? Sometimes that's even more admirable because they've been able to keep up those friendships for a long time. There's pros and cons to both, I think, but the fact that he still has his own friends, I think, is a great sign. And him just not being that social is normal. Like, some people are like that. Number 2, him needing your full attention and not allowing you to have me time. Don't love, because I don't see, it sounded like you articulated that need very clearly.
Literally what I was going to say. Like it'd
you
be
weren't
different.
saying go, you weren't being rude.
It'd be different if you just started like not responding to him or you just like walked out of the room, didn't tell him where you were going. And he was like, what's happening?
Yeah.
But the fact that you were like, hey, I just need an hour to decompress.
That's totally valid. And you went out of your way to explain, like it has nothing to do with him. I just like, I'm exhausted and would love an hour on my vacation to myself. Like amazing. Like I feel like you worded that really well. So the fact that he didn't like that, I think is a yellow flag. And then the way his mom came in is red flag. I hated that.
Well, that's the
and him
thing
allowing
is like
her.
everyone has, I mean, a lot of people have like mother or father-in-laws that they like don't love.
Yeah.
So that's not like a total reason to not be with someone. Like sometimes you just have to deal with a crazy person in your life for someone you love. But
Him
what
sitting
I
there.
don't like is that he sat there and let that happen.
Yeah. That's not good. That's a big red flag.
And that was just over you wanting an hour. Now imagine
On your
what
vacation.
happens when you guys actually get into like a decent fight, or you guys have kids and there's a difference of opinion on how to raise the kids. Like
Yeah.
that's something, if you decide to move forward, there has to be a massive boundary that's laid of like, okay, I get she's your mom. She'll always have that place. We'll always respect her for that role. But if we're going to get married,
Like
I'm your family now.
you're allowed to vent to your mom. She is in no way allowed to talk to me about about issues that we're having that way. And like,
Well, and
you
how
need
did
to
that
be
turn
able.
into
It
you
shouldn't
obviously
be-
don't love him as much as he loves you?
Yeah, and it shouldn't be something that I have to deal with. That's your mother. Like I've always been like this, and I do think there are relationships that over time, like the in-law and the spouse. Sorry, I feel like I didn't make that.
No, I get it. The
Okay.
in-law and
the
person
in-law
you
and your
married, yeah.
partner can develop a relationship where they're able to have more open conversations. But especially in this like dating phase, like that's probably not there yet. So like that's not fixing that isn't your responsibility. And like you having to talk to his mother about that isn't your responsibility. That's his.
Well, and there's a healthy way to do it. Like, I will never forget. Okay, so my ex's dad, I still to this day, one of my favorite. I love him. And it's like this big joke that I have with a friend of mine ended up marrying my ex's brother, which like, LOL, that was my bad for introducing them. But so she's in the family and she always makes this joke with me that she's like, oh, I already know he loves you more than me and I'm in the family. Like
Yeah.
you've been out of the like equation for a while. So it's just this joke. We had this amazing relationship. Like I loved him so much. And there was one time he sat us down as a couple and wanted to talk to us about an observation. And it's so funny now because I'm like, of course it would be this. But I'm like a girl who grew up with all brothers. Like, you hit me, I hit you back harder. Like, if I'm playful, I'm usually like aggressive when I'm playful. And so he watched me and my ex, like I don't know if we were like messing with each other, but we were like pushing each other. I don't know, something. And so he just wanted to like talk to us about like being careful and like respecting each other. And like, even if it's just playing, like you have to be careful about like
Don't hit her.
putting
don't
your
hurt
hands
her.
on someone and like whatever.
see
And
that
like,
concern.
it was just like a really cute, and I was like a lot younger. So I'm sure it was way more than just like playful. I'm sure I probably punched him in the I don't know.
Yeah.
But it was the way he did it was with such grace and such a way, like we had already developed that close relationship. So when he sat us down and had something to say, I respected him and wanted to hear what he had to say.
Yeah.
It also was like in the best interest of us because he like loved us together. And there wasn't a time I felt uncomfortable or embarrassed or judged. It was like a really great way he said it. He wasn't like parenting me. He was just like, hey, like,
I have a concern.
this is just how I feel, like take it or leave it.
And it's not at you. It's an
Yeah.
open conversation
then-
between all of you.
We left and had our own conversation, and both were like, I totally get where he was coming from, and I think that was like wise, like what he
Yeah.
said, and we should be careful. Like we shouldn't be like shoving each other and like whatever. Like, come on, like we should be more gentle with how we interact with each other. And so there's a difference. What the problem is, like, her scolding her for a decent amount of time, him not sticking up while she's saying things like, you obviously don't love him as much as he loved. Like, why is that coming out of her mouth? Like, that's not,
Yeah.
huh?
You don't know.
It's just
Are
weird.
you in this relationship? It's giving like mama's boy
Yeah.
in a really not great way.
Well, and that's what I want to know is what was his demeanor during that?
Right.
Was he sitting there with his hands crossed like
like
I told you?
Yeah.
Like, Or was he
letting
uncomfortable?
you have it, just like,
And he's scared of her, so he just didn't speak up because he's scared of her. Like, I
there
need
is
to
a
know so
difference.
much more.
There is a difference. I do think even out of fear, and if you're scared, an hour and a half, he would have said something eventually.
Oh, yeah.
Like, if you're scared of your mom, maybe she rants for like 20 minutes and then you're like, sorry, like, whatever. Don't know, whatever. Like, we're all scared of her.
I'm scared of my dad in a way of like, my dad is just, if my dad ever got mad at me or was yelling, I'd always have that like little girl fear of like, my dad's upset. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But if that was me, I would at least say, hey, I feel like this conversation is not appropriate for now. Like, can we please just drop it? And Dad, I'll talk to you later about this. And like, we obviously have handled this on our end and like, we would stop. But I don't know. I just don't.
It is not her relationship. She has no space to say anything. They're not even engaged.
Yeah.
Like, they've been dating for a couple years. So what I would say is I do think that is a glimpse into what marriage would look like with your in-law, unless you do something now. So ultimately, I think you need to decide if you should move forward with this guy or not. If you do decide to move forward with him because he's a great guy, you said, then I think some serious boundaries need to get put in play. If he needs to vent to his mom, like, that's fine, but she needs to be shut down from communicating with you. They're allowed to have their relationship, whatever that is, but like, it shouldn't affect you in any way, and she should never come at you for any reason whatsoever. The fact that he allowed her to do that is mind-boggling. So I think you really need to like articulate that to him and then make sure he deals with it on his end. You shouldn't have to say anything. I would just let him take care of that. And if he's incapable of doing that, I think that's a major red flag. For whatever reason, if he can't do that, big red flag.
I
that
also
would
think
ruin
like
things for me.
like I always say, like, you have to tell people how to love you and like what
True.
you need. And I think that's very like awesome that you told him, hey, like, I just need alone time. Like, when Ash had that conversation with me, I think that was a huge change, like shift in our friendship where I was like, oh, because I would get super offended when you would like shut off or just like retreat because I didn't know what was going on. So the second you told me, then it was like, oh, she just needs space. She's whatever. And like, I gave you that space. And then you came back and you were recharged and it was better than ever.
Yeah.
So that also like worries me a little bit because if he can't respect that that's something you need, and if he shifts to immediately being offended by it or taking it as you don't love him, like, that's a little concerning. So I would be very curious, and this is the last thing I'll say because I know we've talked about this a lot, but I would be very curious to see, do you see that same trait in other areas of your relationship where you've communicated a need and it's been turned on, well, what about me and what I need? Because if that's a common denominator, then I think that's bigger than just a like yellow flag to me. If that's a consistent thing, like, he doesn't take time to think about what you need and give it to you, but he's always flipping it and getting offended or his feelings hurt, or you know what I mean? I would look into that a little deeper.
And I feel like it's insinuated, but if for some reason he's not picking up on it, maybe make it very clear, like, I need to get away and have me time so that I can show up better for our relationship.
Yeah.
It's not a selfish thing in any way. It can be, but also it's not. It's very much like, hey, if you want me to be like my best version of myself in mine and Taryn's friendship, in my relationship with Jackson, in my relationship with my mom and my sister, like, I need to be able to get away for a sec. And this is to help us.
Otherwise, I'll stay with you, but I'm gonna snap at you.
Yeah,
and I'm gonna like,
be angry. We're gonna get
you.
in fights. Like, I'm doing this to better our relationship.
Yeah.
This is for us,
literally.
And I think if you can somehow communicate that to him, that would really help. And if you do that, you communicate that to him, and he still doesn't get it, that's when I would probably take off, because like, clearly he just doesn't view that as a good thing. And it sounds like he might be a little more, I don't want to say controlling, but he might need a little more connection than you're able to give.
He's self-absorbed if you can't like take a second to like,
or just not take that personally.
Yeah.
Because it's not a personal thing at all.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for both of our writers for writing in.
Yeah.
We love you guys so much. Obviously, I think it takes a lot of courage to like open up like that and trust strangers to talk about your life situations.
Totally.
So please, please reach out to the people in your life who know you best and know all the intimate details. But we love you.
Yes.
We want what's best for you.
We do.
Okay. I am going to read a dad joke, Ash.
Perfect.
Surprise, surprise. Why didn't the teddy bear eat dessert?
Because he was stuffed.
Have I said that?
I don't think so.
But you just got it.
Like so quickly too.
My work here is done.
Are you proud?
You may not love the humor, but you get the humor.
Did I graduate?
You have graduated. Congratulations.
Guys, I have my diploma.
Your next step is saying cheesy jokes to the waiters and waitresses at a restaurant.
I will never.
That's when you know you've entered.
I draw
the
the
zone.
line.
My dad every time we go anywhere.
Guys, if you made it to the dad joke, you already know the drill. We love you the mostest. Thank you so much for listening to this episode and all the episodes in the past. If you have a story that you want shared on this podcast, you have to email us. What's our email, Taryn?
adviceunsolicitedpod@gmail.com.
Follow us on all the socials. We've been killing it on TikTok, and it would mean a lot to us if you did. And we'll talk to you soon.
Bye.
Bye.